channel. I hope that you all have been enjoying some of the renovations and changes that we've been making to our home. This studio space is actually one of our more recent room renovations. We are slowly kind of going through our house and updating things that I have been wanting to change in the house for quite a while to make it more our style and our vibe and just feel really cozy and inviting. So this studio space, if you haven't seen it already, I'll link it for you guys below. We updated the room. We did a complete room makeover to make this space into a DIY studio for us to be able to create and work on some of our projects. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest that you go check it out. It's a really cool transformation and something that I'm super proud of. I've never done a project this big before. We are going to continue on with the theme of kind of upgrading and shifting our home into a space that suits us better and feels more our style, and just kind of overall enhancing each of the spaces in our house to make them more functional, more aesthetically pleasing, and just make our day-to-day life easier by just doing really small, simple, quick projects that pack a big punch. We're going to get right into it. The first one that we're going to be doing is going to be right here in this studio space. So I want to add to everything that we've already done and make this space even better. To do that, what we're going to be doing is working with some of the things that distract your eye in a space. So for me personally, when I walk into a room and I see stray cables like TV cables, electrical cables for lamp, or computer cables, things like that are just kind of clutter that sit in a room that are necessary. You can't not have them, right? Like, we need them to be able to plug something in, but they don't look nice. So as you can see right now, when I'm not making a project, I do have a setup with my laptop and external hard drives and things like that I need to edit. Over here, there's just a whole mess of cables that I need to have there, I can't get rid of. So we're going to hide those and we're going to make them look pretty and a little bit more with the vibe of the space. So the first thing that I want to do, I got this power strip cover. And so this is literally just like a plug and go situation. And with any of these projects that we're doing, if there's multiple steps like this that I'm doing, you can always just do one of them, right? You don't have to do all three to be able to make this look nice and to elevate your space. Any one of these is going to elevate your space. So for the power strip cable, what it does is you plug it into your outlet and it covers the faceplate of the outlet so that you don't see holes that your plug goes into. And then it runs an extension cord so you can plug everything in over there. So I'm going to plug this into that outlet and then run the extension cord behind my desk where you can't see it, and then we'll be able to put all of these plugs into the extension cord and just kind of start to streamline the cables a little bit more and make them less messy. We have the first step done. We got the kind of streamlined extension cord put in, and I tacked that to the wall so that it's just really seamless and you don't see a lot of the bulk from it being free flowing and off the wall. When I feel like when you have it up against the wall and tacked down, it doesn't draw as much attention because it's just one clean line. We have that done, and while there are still some cables, all of them now are underneath the desk where it's really difficult to see them, so you'd really have to kind of be looking for it. And look at how many plugs, extension cords, adapters we were able to get rid of. So 1, 2, and this big thing, plus this. So that's like 3 and an adapter. So all in all of this got removed from underneath the desk and in that corner. So I think that is already like a huge victory in getting the space cleaner, nicer, and more aesthetically pleasing while still keeping the functionality of having everything I need plugged in. So I'm really, really happy with that first step already. What I want to do now is we are going to go work on a cord cover. So I'm not going to bother with a cord cover for back in this space right here. It's already tacked to the wall. It looks really nice and it really doesn't bother me much now that it's tacked down. But I do want to make a cord cover for all the cables on my desk that I showed you. There's no way to hide those. You know, they have to come out from behind the desk to get to my laptop. So we're going to make a cord cover for there. We're also going to make a cord cover for in our living room where I have an art light hanging that I DIY'd. Make a really, really quick and easy DIY cord cover. Alright guys, so for the DIY cord covers, we're going to be using a fabric that looks like this. I just got it in a neutral tone that matched the decor that I already have in the house. This is the fabric I'm going to be using. I just got it at Joann. I think I got 2 yards of it, but really just get whatever you need to cover the amount of cords that you want to cover. What we're going to be doing is cutting off a strip of our fabric for the length that you need for your cords. So you want to make sure that when you're cutting your fabric, you look at how long your cable is that you're trying to cover and double that length. If your cable is 15 inches, that's showing, you want to do at least 30 inches when you cut your fabric, and that way you can kind of scrunch it up and make it look pretty and not just like a tube of fabric. We are going to cut a strip along the width for the cables that are showing in the studio space, and then for the living room cable it's much longer, so I'm going to cut that tube along the length to make it longer. So it's really important that you cut a longer piece of fabric than the cable you're covering, otherwise you probably won't be happy with the final look because it's just going to look like a tube of fabric. To do this, we're going to be using this fabric glue. It's called Fabric Fusion. Any fabric glue will do. Honestly, you could probably even super glue or hot glue if you really wanted to. And then of course you could also sew if you wanted to. So we are going to cut our fabric and then we'll put our glue on and we'll leave it to dry. We're going to take our fabric and cut a strip the length of our width and then about 6 inches wide. If you have a lot of cables that you want to cover, I'd go a little bit wider, but otherwise 6 inches should be pretty good. I'm going to use a cutting board to cut on and then my little rolling cutter for sewing. You could use scissors, but just make sure that if you're working on a surface like this and you're going to be cutting where it could get cut up, that you put something under you. We will measure it out. I think I'm going to go a little bit wider for this one since it's going to be going in the studio space and there are quite a few cables in there. So I'm probably going to go about 8 inches, which is roughly the width of this cutting board, so it works out really nicely. Okay, and then we'll just set our leftover fabric off to the side. I'm going to use that to make another cover for in our living room. And then we have a piece like this that we're going to be working with. For this, what we want to do, and this part's optional, it totally depends on, you know, how you want to do your fabric cover, but I'm going to take my fabric glue and put a thin line of glue along the edges of the entire piece of fabric and just fold a tiny little bit over to give it a clean edge so that when we fold our tube, we have nice clean edges. If you don't want to do this step, you can just skip ahead to when we make the tube and not worry about the edges. But it's really, really easy and quick. All that I'm going to do is just put some glue all along the edge here. And you can kind of do this in chunks so that you don't get glue everywhere, but it also just washes off, so it's not a huge deal. And then once you have a line of glue like this, you're just going to fold it over in a teeny little fold. So I like to fold it over and press it down and then just kind of run my finger over it to make sure it's all smooth and pressed down. Okay, so the edges of our fabric aren't totally dry yet. It's going to take about 24 hours for them to be completely dry, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and make our cord cover 2 now while everything is drying, and then it can all just dry together. So to do this, all you have to do is take one side and fold it about halfway in like that, and then you're going to take your glue and you're going to run it all along the top edge of the side that you folded over, and then you just fold the other side on top and press it down. And it's as easy as that. Just let it dry, and it's ready to put on your cords. Just gonna fold it over. This is what our tube is going to be like. When it's all dry, we'll be able to put it on our cords and then scrunch it up so that it looks really pretty and decorative. We're gonna put the heat shrinks onto the cables, and Matt's gonna help us because he's way more of a pro at this than me. What I'm trying to do is put at least a couple cables together so that we can kind of streamline it and make it less bulky so that it sits inside of our cord cover nicer, but also just so that there's not so many cables sitting out if the cord cover isn't on it for some reason. So he's gonna show us how to use the heat shrink, and you're getting to see his amazing process of chaos and then pretty. So he said that also if you use the heat shrinks, it makes your cables last longer. So if you have that issue where they fray on the edges after a long time, you can put these on and it'll fix it. So that's another way you can use these.
So I generally like to use the smallest available heat shrink because they all have a shrink ratio, and it's going to say that on the box. Most of them are going to come in just black or red because it's mainly for like electrical stuff. But you can find them in other colors. Some of these are clear, so you just gotta look on Amazon, find the right ones, and just look at that like shrink ratio, like I said, to make sure it's gonna be like snug and not loose once you heat it up. I generally like to butt it up right against the end because that's the part that's gonna fray the most. Now the heat gun's gonna get really hot, so
don't melt my mat. Matt's getting some heat shield things, so we have a Nala cuteness intermission.
now, if you're kind of pinched and you don't want to buy a heat gun, you can use a hair dryer. I've used Alex's hair dryer for these. It takes a lot longer, so I highly suggest getting like a very basic heat gun from Amazon or something. One thing that will help you from getting everything else around it hot is it usually comes with some kind of adapter like this, and with smaller wires it'll make more sense, but it helps you kind of concentrate the heat here. This is just like a fiberglass shield that I use on exhaust. The only reason it's here is because Alex's desk is here and I do not want to get divorced. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure this is nice and safe here since we're doing this inside. Now I'll keep this on like a 7 out of 10. Once they get warmed up, these will actually shrink very quickly, and there's adhesive inside that's going to hold it. What I like to do is go from one end to the other so that air pockets don't form and then those end up popping.
Cover tube all done and ready to go. So right now it just looks like a tube of fabric, and the back that we glued is a little bit stiff after you first glue it, but you can kind of just like squish it with your hands and make it a little bit more bendy and easier to work with. What we're going to do is take the cables that we have over here that we use the heat shrink on to kind of pull together, and we're going to feed all of them through this fabric, and then we'll be able to scrunch it up and make it look really nice. Our next thing that we're going to be doing to help to elevate our home and really just kind of improve on the space and step it up a little bit is working with some items in the kitchen. And for this portion of the video, we are actually very, very lucky because we're going to be partnering with Mateis. And Mateis is a brand that works with carpet squares, which are a really cool product if you haven't seen them. Instead of having an entire panel of carpeting, you can have individual squares that piece together to make one larger or custom size rug. But they also do some kitchen gadgets. And that's what we're going to be doing to kind of step things up in my space. Mateis reached out to me to partner with them and offered to send over 2 different kinds of designer mats that they have. The first one is a coffee bar mat and a dish drying mat. So I've been living with these items in our space for a couple of weeks now so that I'm able to kind of talk with you guys about them. And I'm really, really liking them. I think that they are really helpful and also look really nice. They have 2 different sizes for both of these mats, and they come in about 8 different styles. So I do like that because it gives a wide range of options for people to make it work for their home. And for us in particular, we have these kind of strange blue counters in our house, so it can be hard to match things to them. Having a variety of color options is really nice because then I don't have to worry about it clashing with these counters. I'm going to show you how both of these products work and how they are functioning in my space. And then if you're interested in getting some of these or something else from Mateis's site for your home, I do have a discount code that you can use for your purchase. The discount code is Alexandra18. It's going to give you 18% off of your order, and I'll put it on the screen for you. This discount code does give a small percent of commission back to me, so you can use it if you want to. If you don't, that's fine. It does give you 18% off, so if you're interested in getting one of these products, they're already very reasonably priced, but this will make it even less expensive for you. So it's a really great deal, and I will also link all of this below for you guys if you want to check it out. I have one of them open and have been using it. The other one I kept packaged for you so that you can see how it comes. It comes wrapped up really nicely. It's super quick shipping. And all you have to do is take the plastic off and this little paper sheet and you're ready to go. You can put it out just like that. These mats are really cool because both the dish drying mat and the coffee bar mat are stain resistant, so they protect your counters. They're heat resistant, so you can put hot items on them like pots and pans or tea kettle or something like that. They also have quick absorption, which is really great for me in the kitchen in the ways that I like to use these mats, because if they're in a space where maybe they're going to get water on them or something is likely to spill, they're going to soak it up so fast that it's not even a problem. And they also have grippers on the bottom, so nothing is going to slide around when you're using these. So Mateis does suggest some ways that these are commonly used, and there are quite a few different ways that they're used. So obviously dish drying, as well as under coffee machine or appliances, but they can also be used to put hot items on, pet mat for your pets to eat on, or just to put out on your kitchen counter for meal prep and things like that. That's what they suggest. I use my products a little bit differently. I do like to use them under my coffee machine because I'm an avid coffee drinker. If you don't know, I'm a teacher and I live on coffee. I like to keep my smaller one under my coffee mat because I tend to spill things a lot over there when I'm making coffee and rushing in the morning. And then I like to use the bigger one for dish drying, but also quite a few other ways. I'm going to show you a few of the ways that I typically use them because I think that they will apply really well to a lot of you in our community, because I know that you all like to do a lot of similar activities to me. A couple of ways that I like to use these products: as a travel mat for our dog. She goes absolutely everywhere with us. We just recently took a vacation for New Year's and she came with us. So it's really nice to be able to bring a mat that she is already familiar with on trips with us so that she has a space that's all her own. I also really like these mats as a desk mat to work on for putting your laptop on or writing and planning. I like to have something cushioned under me when I'm working at my desk, and I do a lot of editing for my videos and a lot of planning, and so these mats really come in handy to go underneath my laptop because they offer some cushion to my arms when I'm editing for a long time or working for a long time, and they also will soak up any condensation from drinks that I have on the desk while I'm working so that I don't have to worry about ruining my new to me vintage desk. The last way that I really like to use these mats is for DIY projects. Because they don't move around, they're grippy, they absorb really quickly, and they're stain resistant. These are the perfect mats to use when you're working on a project. I know a lot of times you've seen me roll out like parchment paper and things like that. This is going to be a great thing to swap over to that gives me some more cushion that isn't going to roll around when I lift something off of it, is still going to protect my surface and allow me to work on my projects without having to worry about damaging any of the furniture that I'm working on or spilling paints or glue or anything like that, because it'll just wipe right off. That's a few of the ways that I like to use these products. I'm sure there's a million more ways that these could be used. I really love them. I think I'm going to get a ton of use out of these in the kitchen and for DIY projects. We are going to go ahead and make a quick coffee over at the coffee bar, and then we're going to move on to our next project. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is make a garbage can cover to go in front of kind of like the row of garbage cans that we have. We have a million garbage cans. We somehow just keep accumulating lost garbage cans that no one is reclaiming. So we have a long line in between our house that we share with our neighbor, and it's not the nicest thing to look at, so I want to make something that can cover them so that it looks a little bit prettier. What I want to try to do is weave some sticks that either we cut down from trees in our yard or that have fallen in our yard into this little trellis thing that I already had to make just a natural barrier that can block the garbage cans and make it look a little bit nicer and still kind of go with the natural elements, and then we can put a plant in front of it too. We're going to gather up some sticks that are still a little bit bendy and pliable and weave them through this trellis. Super easy, literally all from stuff we already have in our yard, and it's going to make a much nicer view when we come home each day. So we're just weaving them in front and behind, alternating through this trellis. And then I'm taking some of the shorter ones and putting them horizontally across to make everything tighter so that any of them that are looser fitting or shorter are held in place really well. And then as these sticks dry out, firm up and stay in that position and hold really nicely. This is how it's looking. I think it looks really nice. I really like the woven look to it. So we've done a weaving going up and across, kind of like a basket weave sort of style. And I was telling Matt that about halfway into doing this, I was hoping that it wouldn't just look like a plant died on here and we stuck it out there. But I think the more you add, the more intentional it looks. It kind of gives it that woven look that is really pretty and natural and purposeful. So we are going to put this out in front of the trash cans and see how it's looking. And we might add a few more sticks and vines and then put the plant in front of it, and we should be good to go. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this week's video. I think that these little projects and changes that we made make a really big impact on your home and your space, or wherever it is that you're doing these things. I really love how they all turned out. A big thank you again to Mateus for partnering with me in this video. I definitely think the mats are super, super useful. Whether you use them in your kitchen, for your pets, for DIY projects, they are really multifaceted. And you'll probably see me using them in a lot more videos. So if you're interested in grabbing some of their drying mats or any of their other products, don't forget that you can use my code for anything on their website. It's Alexandra18 for 18% off. I will link the code and the link to their website below for you guys if you want to check it out. And let me know if you give any of these projects a try. I would really love to know the ways that you guys upgrade your space and enhance your home. So whether you do something that I'm doing in this video or you have something of your own that we didn't do today, I would love to hear it. I'm always looking for new ways to kind of upgrade my space. So any ideas you have, drop them in the comments below, and I'm sure that we would all love to try them out in our homes too. And don't forget, if you enjoy my videos, to like and subscribe so that you can see more of these videos every week. I put out new videos every Sunday, and we will have a new video next week where we're continuing to update our house and our space, and we're going to be doing a mini renovation in another part of our house that I'm really excited about. So you don't want to miss it. Make sure that you tune in on Sunday to check that out, and I'll see you guys next week.